Okay. So maybe I'll start, we all go to Google to find answers. This is the right time. This is the time when you go to Google, and what you get on Google gets you nowhere. Because EdTech is not about education technologies. Okay, that's definitely not the way that you are all excited over here and here in this forum. So it's not about the pure translation or the abbreviation of this acronym, but it's more about something else. It's about connecting the dots. And let's try to connect the dots, maybe in a different, unusual way, not in the way that we have been told how to connect the different dots. So let's try to connect the dots, maybe the unusual way. And I'll try to give you my, let's say, observation about this industry and how maybe we can try to connect the dot in a different way. You see, I'm coming from Israel, and whenever people are coming to Israel and visit me in Israel, they say, can you take us to Mobileye? Yeah, that's Mobileye. That's the basement where they have all the test vehicles, and it's not that easy to get there, and actually they don't allow you to take a lot of pictures, so they only take the picture far enough so you can actually zoom in. What's interesting about Mobileye, it's a company that has been acquired in Israel for an amazing amount of $15 billion a few years ago. And there were only about 700 people in the company. So it's not about the number of people working for the company. It's about, that's what we expect in high tech. In high tech, that's what you do. You take an idea, you bring it over, you create an amazing company out of it, and then sometimes you sell it for $15 billion. Maybe they should have waited a couple of more years. Maybe someone would give them 30. But that's amazing, okay? So when I come from Israel, and in Israel, we have the reputation of being startup nation, we like this thing, which we call exponent. My wife is a math teacher, she also likes it. But me as an engineer, I always liked it. Because this is telling us that something exciting is happening. When we see a flat line, no matter what the gradient is, we are not excited. When we see an exponent, that's when we start to get excited. So let's explore a little bit about Startup Nation. We do not have a lot of natural resources in Israel. So probably the number one export is our brains and the technology that we do outside. And one of the persons that actually is to blame for this excellent marketing is Saul Zinger. He's the co-author of the book Startup Nation. And I happened to have the opportunity to work with him for the last few years. And he says, what is this thing that people call it 21st century skills? We always needed to have them. It's not something new in the 21st century. We need them also 1,000 and 10,000 years ago. Simply because the education system don't know how to do it. This is why they invented this acronym. But basically, why we are Startup Nation is because the thing that we do outside of the education system. And this is maybe something that is very, very typical to Israel, because when we had this delegation going to the Global Education Summit last year in Beijing, and I was leading this delegation, Saul was giving over there a keynote speech, and he was talking about his model about how we need not only to flip the classroom, we need to flip the entire education system. We need to flip the school. So a flipped school is a school that is based on social skills. And on top of that, you bring learning, because all the attempts to take a school which is built around learning and try to glue to it social skills doesn't work. And when he speaks about this model and about social skills, he's speaking about the Israeli youth movements. Because this is something which is very typical to Israel. And the Israeli youth movements are something that is very far from let's say, your imagination, and also from the imagination of the people coming from the US, because we do it different. In Israel, the Israeli youth movement is driven only by teenagers. Actually, there is no adult inside. And this is a picture of my hometown tribe in where I live, and you see all over here all those young adults. And when you are 15, they take you through a year where they try to train you and to teach you how you can actually become a scout guide. And then when you're 16, they give you a group, and this group. Sometimes, that's over there, that's my daughter with a big smile. But you see some of her girls over there are even physically bigger than her. And now for 1 year, you are with this group. And when you're with this group, you started with 10, maybe now you have 2, and your friend, he started with 10, he has 10, 20, and you kill yourself because you don't understand what you are doing wrong. Why can he keep all the other kids and you are losing them? And until you finish and you reach up at the end and you engage them in so many activities and you guide them and you try to inspire them, at the end of the year, you say goodbye, you separate from them, and guess what? Next year you are fired. You are not being a scout guide anymore. Now you are a mentor of 4 or 5 others. Suddenly you become an expert. And now you try to teach them the thing that you only experienced like a year before. And then when you're 18, they then give you a responsibility on the entire tribe. And when you're 18, you feel, wow, you accomplished something. You are a leader. You develop your personality. Because there are few things that you cannot teach. You cannot teach values. You cannot teach entrepreneurship. You cannot teach leadership. You cannot teach social skills. You need to experience them. If you do not experience them, then it means nothing. So our school system, do they actually give us the opportunity to experience those things? No, they don't. So it is the thing that outside of the school that makes Israel, the startup nation, not what we have in the formal education system. So when you go back and you start to look on what we call the human capital, the person, me, you, everyone over here, and you try to couple together the talents that we have and the big things about technology and the opportunity to go to scale and to do an impact, then you start to get exciting. And what does it mean to be excited? Because in high tech, and I think I can be considered maybe an expert based on some old style characteristics. Some people say that you need to do something 10 years or 10,000 hours in order to become an expert. So after so many years in the high tech business, in 2009 I switched to EdTech and to education. So after 10 years of building also the Israeli ecosystem, I believe that I learned something. So what I learned is that in this, now today we are in June and July 2nd during the forum. If we actually go back up to the year of 1995 and we look what happened, we see that actually for many years there were no investments in everything related to e-learning or whatever. Only the investment started in 2011, 12, etc. And they reached, some people say, as much as $16 billion, but it only happened in the last few years. It did not happen before. Think about it. It's not, we are not doing today something more of the same. We are doing something totally different that did not happen before. And guess what? Here is my friend, the exponent again, which I like so much, because it means that what we do right now is exponential. Don't expect next year to look like this year, because the things that are happening right now, the digital transformation in everything related to learning and education is happening right now exponentially. And when it happens exponentially, let's use the tech talk, because I graduated from university in 1982, so probably many of you have already been born only after. And in tech talk, when you say innovation, that's not something that you usually expect from governments, or from policymakers, or from universities. And if you speak about scale, Scale is to take something and create 10 million devices out of it, and not to do it in 2 districts. And you speak about impact. Impact, I would like to give another definition of impact, because everyone is talking today about impact investment. I learned something about impact in physics. This is impact, to do things now and fast, not to do something that will change the life of things over 10 years. We want to do it in 2 months, in 3 months. That's the pace of the high-tech industry. So if we also want to speak about sustainability, we don't want to rely on government funds. We don't want to rely on philanthropic money. We want people to pay because they receive value. This is the new industry of today. This is what is so exciting, because if we take all those things together and we think about ed and we think about tech, but not about just the technologies, but about what tech represents, the scalability, the impact, the sustainability, then things start to be very, very exciting when we couple innovation and scale and impact and sustainability. And to finalize my presentation, I would like to take a quote from one of the largest, from the biggest and most important economists, a strategic economist in Israel, Manuel Tochtenberg, that he said, we need more EdTech. We need more innovations. Don't expect ministries, governments, authorities anywhere in the world to do the job for us. We need the free spirit of entrepreneurship to lead the way in this revolution that has to happen. And this is, I think, a very powerful message, because that was from last year. This year, he was on stage interviewing a president of one of the Israeli, divisions of one of Israel's high-tech companies, Amdocs, this company that has about 30,000 people worldwide. In his specific division, there are only 6,000 people. Some of them are located in India, some in Cyprus, some in Israel, some in the US. They implemented 6 years ago free choice learning in their organization, which is something which is unheard of, because usually you'd expect high-tech companies to do things differently. They implemented free choice learning in a company of 30,000 people, and it improved their bottom line. This is the impact of new paradigms in everything related to innovation and learning. Thank you very much.